Welcome to another edition of Mark's Inspiration. Glad you could join me here today as always, and it's a windy ass day today in St. Louis, Missouri. The sun's shining and it's pretty warm, but that wind is blowing hard. Don't know if I want to go outside or not. I might get blown away. I've been blown away before by some women because I got too focused on them. Never get too focused on a woman. But like and subscribe before we go into this. Today I'm going to speak about exes and what to do when you get dumped. The reason I'm bringing this up is because someone asked me, they were trying to help a friend or a client about what to do when you reach out to an ex who has dumped you and they ignore you. My first question is, why are you reaching out to the ex? You have no business reaching out to an ex that's dumped you, because she dumped you. That means she doesn't want anything to do with you. But as I said, there are variables. So unless you had some legal issues, like maybe you own some property together, it could be an ex-wife, it could be someone you live with, and you have bills that you are paying together. They're in both of your names. So in that case, you may have to reach out. But if you did reach out for that, and just for that, and she is ignoring you and you have things you have to deal with, then I would suggest sending a certified letter, because her curiosity will kill her. She will have to open it up because she will wonder what it is. She won't ignore it. She may read it and ignore it, but at least you'll know she got the message, okay? But other than that, you have no business contacting an ex. I believe in no contact, not no contact just to get her back or to get her to reach out to you, but that for you, take that time to work on yourself, because if your ex dumped you, you allowed it to get to that point. And you need to take a deep, hard, long look within yourself to find out what happened. Because if she was in love with you and she was desiring you when you met her, something changed. Now, many of us want to look at it as she was the one that changed. She started doing this, this, and that. But you're the leader, so why did she start doing that? How did you lead it to that point? You have to take responsibility for how it got there. And I have many exes in my life. I have 4 ex-wives, and I have ex-girlfriends. I've been dumped twice in my life. Once when I was 16, and another time when I was 29. The first time was devastating enough to make me reach out and find a mentor and learn how to deal with women. The second time was worse. But it helped me to change my life, and had that not happened, I would not be here today. The other times that I've walked away from women, which has been many times, 3 of my marriages I walked away from them. The reason I did is because the disrespect was getting pretty bad, and I think they were cheating on me. If they weren't at the time I walked away, I'm just not sure. But I found out later that some of them were cheating on me. Okay, maybe they all were, who knows? But I allowed it to get to that point. And I wasn't dumped yet, but it was coming. So it was just a matter of time. And now some guys seem to wonder how they can break up with their girlfriend, or their girlfriend dumps them, and a week later they're with another guy, because they were already setting up their escape plan before the time came that she ever dumped you. I think they call it monkey branching now, but she already had something set up before she left you. And that's what women do. They make sure, because contrary to what society tells us, or what some women want you to believe, they need a man psychologically. Now, I'm not talking about every woman. There are exceptions, but 99% of them have evolutionarily evolved to where they feel like they need a man. And actually they do. If they're in the house at night and somebody breaks in, what are they going to do? If they got a gun, maybe they can protect themselves. But they would much rather have a man there to use that gun, or have a man there that could physically stop the intruder or protect the woman. Or if they're walking down the street and they get accosted by someone, or someone tries to assault them, they expect you as the man to protect them. And you should be able to. And if you can't, you need to learn how. So back to the ex and being dumped. Okay, some people preach or speak about no contact to get the woman back. And this is a way to get her to come back, for her to become curious about you. Because when people look back in retrospect on relationships and on many things, they look back with rose-colored glasses. They only see the good times. They only think about the good times they had. As time passes, we forget. Think about something that happened in your life that was tragic. As time passes, you may look back on it and actually be glad it happened. Or you may look back on it and think it's not quite that bad. I don't know if it's a safety mechanism we have within ourselves, but if we carried around that trauma, which is the new buzzword, I'll say it like this. If you carried around that hurt of what happened to you in the past and only thought about the bad things, by the time you got to be a certain age in life, you would be so overwhelmed with emotion from the horrible things that happened to you that you would have a hard time operating in the daily grind, in the daily activities of life. You would be so weighed down with these emotions of these tragic things that happened to you, you wouldn't be able to operate. So the point I'm making here is, man, I think something's trying to bite me. The point I'm making here is that she's going to forget the bad times. She's going to forget if you begged and pleaded, if she got sick of you, if you whined and cried like a little bitch. She's going to forget about that when you don't contact her, when you leave her alone. Okay, but if you did that, if you begged, if you pleaded, I haven't never done that, but I've heard of a lot of guys who have. Okay, I have done some things that I wasn't too proud of, though, when I was getting dumped, so I'm not perfect. I've made a lot of the mistakes that you've made, maybe some you haven't made, and I've learned from it, and that's what you're going to do here, too, is to learn from that. We all get complacent. A lot of guys who are alpha or who have all the women, they get with a woman, they start settling down, they get lazy, they don't do anything because they know she's there, and she becomes bored and she starts looking around for a replacement because the guy she fell in love with disappeared. She may urge you not to go out with your friends, and you think, okay, I'll stay home with her. She'll appreciate me for that. Don't do that. She may try to get you to do the dishes, to help clean the house, and all of a sudden you're this domesticated alpha guy that she met, but you're not the alpha guy she met. You're not the guy who all the women want and all men want to be like. All of a sudden you're just this teddy bear, this guy that's at home. He's always there for her. He's always taking care of her. He's just the kind of man that she said she wanted. But that wasn't the kind of man you were when she met you. So think about that for a while. So what you have to do after you're dumped and your ex doesn't want anything to do with you and she's ignoring you, you need to take a long, hard look at yourself. What did you allow to happen? How did you change? And you need to start to get back to being a man. The man she met, the man she fell in love with, but more than that, the man that you want to become, the man that you were becoming before she met you. It's not about her, it's about you. It's about you becoming a man who is independent, who's not needy, who doesn't want a mommy. No woman is ever going to love you like your mommy loved you, okay? So forget about that. Don't be trying to find a second mommy. That is, if your mother loved you. Women love their kids because they're part of them. A woman will die for her kids. Few women will die for their man. Think about that. How many accounts in history have you seen where the woman gave her life for the man? But reverse said, how many accounts of history have you seen where men willingly gave their lives for women and children? Willingly. It wasn't like they were forced to. They did it because of honor. And that seems to be something that we have lost here, at least in the U.S., is honor. Honor. It's almost discouraged to stand up for the honor of your woman. If you're out walking down the street and a man comes up to your woman and calls her a slut, a whore, a bitch, whatever he calls her, you are not allowed to knock this guy out. I think it's ridiculous. You have to just keep walking. Back in the day, you could have a duel over something like that and kill the other man. Now, I'm not saying I believe in duels, but I do believe two men should be able to have a fist fight and not have the law involved. You're not hurting anybody but each other. Shouldn't it be your choice as a man? But that's a whole nother video. But a woman wants a man that can protect her. Back to that, a woman needs a man who can protect her. And if you're not that man, why don't you become that man? But as I said, you broke up with her, you became some kind of a simp, a wimp, and she's looking for a real man again. The real man that you were when she met you. The real man she fell in love with. So this no contact time, because you may never talk to her again, and you got to get to where you're okay with that. You got to get to the point where if you never talk to her again, you're okay. You need to work on yourself. You need to get focused on your mission, your goals, and your purpose in life. That has to be your number one priority. And work on keeping things in perspective. The next time you get into a relationship, whether it be with your ex or with someone new, you got to keep it in perspective. If you feel yourself getting too drawn in to where she's becoming too important, you need to back away, withdraw your attention. Not to manipulate her or to get her to chase you, but for your own self. So you stay the center of your world. You need to make yourself, how do they say, your point of mental origin. That's what happens sometimes. We as men get too into a girl. Our happiness starts to become dependent on how she is, how she feels, how she treats us, how she responds in text, how she responds when we're out with her, if she acts like she desires us, if she acts like she wants to be with us. And women will shit test you, okay? And they're going to do things to see if you are staying the man that you were, that she met, the man she fell in love with. They will constantly be trying to pull you away from your mission, from your goals. Most women. Now, there are women who won't do that, but in today's society, at least in the U.S., it's pathetic. I mean, that's just my experience. If you've only known women from the U.S. and you're a younger person, you don't know the difference. There are so many beautiful, feminine women who want to cooperate with a man in other parts of the world, like it used to be here 50 or 60 years ago. I'm 61 years old. When I was in my teens, it was common for a woman, by the time she was 20, to only have maybe one or two sexual partners. Now, well, I think you guys know what the difference is now. If a woman had over 5 sexual partners by the time she was 20, she was considered a slut, okay? Times have changed, at least in the U.S. and around where I live. Maybe it's different where you live, like if you're in a Mennonite community or something like that, or the Amish community. Maybe it's different there. But nowadays, in the general population, that's kind of how it is. And most men of high value don't want a woman who's been with a lot of men. I've had both. I've had women who are virgins. I've had women who had only been with 1 or 2 guys. And I've had women who have been with a lot of men. And I've had LTRs with each of these types of women. And it's statistically proven that women with a lot of partners cannot pair bond the same as a woman who has had few partners or no partners. And I have experienced that in my life to be true. Women who have had a lot of sexual partners they can't bond. They don't want to cooperate with a man of value. They don't want to submit. Oh, and that word submission pisses a lot of modern women off. But submission is not a bad thing. I submit to the leadership of my land here in the U.S. And as I do, I get provided with protection from the police force, from the armies, the navies, the Marines, the Navy SEALs, everyone, the government. I have roads, I have parks, I have all these things, these benefits of my submission. Now, if I go out here and start breaking the laws, the rules, guess what's going to happen to me? I think we all know what's going to happen to me. And it's the same way in a relationship. The man is leading, and if the woman submits to his authority, cooperates, if you like that better, then she is provided with his protection. Depending on the relationship, she may be provided with a home, food, clothing, car, whatever. Nice clothes, jewelry, whatever it happens to be, depending on your status and the ability of the man to provide. But this is what she gets by submitting to him. Submitting doesn't mean she's submitting as a slave. She is no more of a slave by taking care of him and submitting to his leadership than he is by going out there and working all day and providing her these wonderful things that she doesn't have to go out and work for herself. Her job is to take care of her man. His job is to take care of her. Now, we've seemed to have got this all mixed up here in today's society. Like there's something wrong with that. Even 15 or 20 years ago, I was watching a show. I don't know if it's Oprah Winfrey or Springer, Jerry Springer, somebody. And there was a man up there, and he said he wanted a traditional relationship. He wanted a woman to stay home, have kids, take care of the house, and he was going to go out and work. And oh, the crowd of women just squealed. Oh, you want a slave, you want a slave. I don't understand why she's any more of a slave than he is. He's out there slaving away to provide her with this easy life. And I've met a lot of women, they all say the same thing. I wish I could stay home with the kids. Well, do they really? That's a 24-hour, 7-day-a-week job until those kids are grown up and gone, 18, 21, 22 years old, okay? And it's not given the admiration, the respect, and the adoration that it should get. They're raising the future, in this case, of America. And people act like that's not a job. It's a hell of a lot easier to take the kids to daycare at 7 o'clock in the morning or whatever, 6 sometimes, pick them up at 5. Then you have a minimum wage daycare worker raising your kids and putting her values into your children. Is that what you want so you can drive that Escalade and live in that big $500,000, $2 million house, whatever you happen to live in? No, I don't think that's what you really want, but that's what we're led to believe is the way to go. That's what everyone does, and you become part of what you are around. Is that what you want for your children? Do you want your children being raised by a minimum wage daycare worker? Is that what you want? Who's instilling those values? And fathers, I'm talking to fathers. Do you want your children to be like you? What kind of an example are they seeing you set? More truth is caught than taught. Do you have time for your children? I am very fortunate. I'm an entrepreneur. I'm self-employed. Okay. I have 3 of my kids, 4, 5 of them. 5. I've had them all work for me, but 3 work for them. 3 of them work for me steadily. Okay. We spend the day together. We speak as men. We interact as men. We do masculine things. This isn't anything I'm telling you so you'll think I'm great. I'm telling you because this is how boys become men. And this is how they learn to be men. If you're not interacting with your kids, if you're not spending enough time with your boys, and they're around women because the schools are mostly run by women, they've been raised by either daycare workers or your wife, how do you expect them to know how to be men, to be masculine, if they're not around men? Now, you can go out and start your own business. You can do the same thing I'm doing or whatever. You don't have to do that. Just you need to spend time with your boys and also with your daughters. My daughter, I spend time with her. I talk to her about what kind of man she needs to get. A man who's strong, who can provide, who can protect her. I talk to her about not going out and sleeping around, how that devalues a woman, contrary to what society here in the U.S. tells them, that they can go out and have as many sexual partners as they want and still maintain their value. Now, I'm not saying that that makes them less of a person, but in the eyes of a high-value man, if a woman goes out and sleeps with a lot of men, he doesn't want a woman like that. It lowers her value in his eyes. Because if she's that easy, she's not unique, she's not rare, she's available to everyone. It's like any kind of a commodity. If anybody can buy it, there's no value. Why are diamonds valuable? Because they're rare, okay? If her availability of her body is rare and of her emotions, then that raises her value in the eyes of a high-value man. I've explained all this to her, and what do they say? It's the father's job to keep their daughters off of stripper poles and to keep their sons out of jail. And I believe that to be true. So if you're a father and you're working, you need to be more involved in your sons' lives if they can't work with you. In the days of old, a lot of the kids grew up on farms, they worked with the family business, and they learned how to be men. Nowadays, as I've said, they're so influenced by women, they're becoming feminized. I meet many men around here where I live. I shake their hand, and their hands are like women's hands. Their mannerisms are like women. okay? And it just doesn't work. At least I don't think it works. I think we have a nation of snowflakes. And it's up to us men, us older men, to lead these men, or these young men, to show them how to be men. Because feminine is important. Masculine is important. There's a polarity. We need both. We don't need all feminized men, and we don't need all masculinized women. We have to have a balance of each. And the masculinity seems to be more prevalent, or is supposed to be, genetically, or I can't think of say biologically in the men than it is in the women. And I've also met women now that are being turned into more of the masculine. So it's really strange when I meet a woman, or not strange anymore, but they want to shake my hand like a man. They're not men. They're never going to be a man, okay? But they're taught to act like a man to get the respect of a man. I don't respect a woman like that. You know what I respect? I respect a woman when she is what she is. She's a woman, she's feminine, she gives me her hand. I appreciate that. I mean, that is so refreshing these days. When a woman shakes my hand, I've said this before, like a man, I kind of want to squeeze her knuckles and crunch it and say, you're never going to be a man. You're never going to be a man. I'm never going to be a woman. I'm never going to be able to have a baby. But you can. Am I less than because I can't? Are you less than a person because you can't have the strength of a man, the emotional, the mental, the physical strength of a man? No, you're not. You have characteristics that I'll never have. Okay? I have characteristics you will never have. That's just the way we're made. You don't like it? As Corey Wayne says, go talk to the big guy about it. But you are never going to make yourself into a man. And I'm never going to make myself into a woman, even if I have an operation. Now, if people want to do that, I believe in free choice. If you want to go do that and you feel that will make your life better, go right ahead. Makes no difference to me. I think you should be able to do whatever you want to as long as it doesn't infringe on the rights of other people. And that doesn't. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about accepting who we are and allowing the balance, the yin and the yang, the up and the down, the in and the out, to flow, for things to just work more, how do I say, easily. Because I feel like what we got now, or I think, I don't feel, I think what we have now is not working too well. We have a lot of division here in the States. I'm getting off on political stuff. United we stand, divided we fall. I'll just shut the hell up about that. I'm getting way off topic. But I'm going to finish up with that. I'm about to get on a rant here. So thanks for joining me. Like I said, like and subscribe, and I'll see you tomorrow. Have a great day.